GT4. What an incredible little car this is. I'm kind of surprised that Porsche made the GT4. You know, they're so protective of the 911 to put a 911 engine in a Cayman body. I never thought they'd do it, but here it is. So what is the GT4? Well, it's it's possibly the best driving car Porsche makes. There's a lot of great cars in the Porsche range, so maybe that's going a little far, but boy, it is something special, there's no question. They've taken the small mid-engine body of the Cayman, which has always been a great car, and they've put the 911 Carrera S engine in it, the 3.8. They've lowered it, they put the torque vectoring system that they have in the 911 in it as well. It's really a lot of Porsche's best parts, all in one lovely little package. But at $84,000, just over, and once you add extra bits and pieces, you're well over $90,000. You know, it's an expensive car, and it's in 911 territory. But I can see why this will still be reasonably popular. You know, it is really a fantastic little track day car, as well as a car that can be driven every single day. I'm going to take it out to some of the back road twisties and we'll give it a drive, and then we'll take a closer look at some of the changes that they've made to the Cayman to make this the GT4. Car is one crazy little go-kart. That 3.8 litre engine is just so perfect in this car. It's louder because it's closer to you, I think. Oh, I don't even have the sports exhaust on. Now it's louder still. The gearbox is a gem, you know, nice short throws. Very clicky response to each gear. The clutch is kind of heavy but predictable. And what I'd say about the gearbox is that the gears are tall. You know, I think I could get like almost 80 miles an hour out of second gear. So that is a very tall second gear. Let me get around this corner. We'll give it a burst. 50, 60, 70. Yes, I got 80 miles an hour out of second gear there. So that's a very tall second gear. But listen to the engine. Oh man. Such a shame this naturally aspirated engine's going away. But for now, we've still got it. And we've got the best one here in the GT4. What a magic little supercar this is. So what's it like to drive compared to its big brother, the Carrera 911, or the S model, which of course it shares the same engine with? You know, obviously inside it's a Porsche, so it feels very, very similar. But where the difference is of course the handling. This car is a mid-engine, it's a shorter car, so the handling just feels a little more nimble. Surprisingly, it's not faster than the Carrera S, despite sharing the same engine and being lighter and smaller. And I think there's two reasons for that. Obviously, this is a manual-only gearbox model, and the PDK is a faster car. So I think the best that the GT4 can do is just over 4 seconds, 0 to 60, whereas the Carrera S can get under that 4-second mark. And also, surprisingly, they've reduced the power output of this engine, obviously to protect the 911, which I don't think they need to do. So it's 385 instead of the standard 400. Not that should make too much of a difference. Anyway, this is plenty fast enough. The engine, as long as you're keeping the revs up, and just like any 3.8 engine, it's not until you get up into that 4,500 revs that you really feel the torque come in. Sing the song of your people. And a little bit on these bucket seats. For those of you that live outside the US, you may not realize this, but for we US Porsche drivers, bucket seats are not really an option for a lot of models. Outside the US, you can get bucket seats on just about any of the sports cars. But here in the US, for whatever reason, they restrict the bucket seats to the GT cars. So yeah, this being a GT car, it's an option. I think it's about $4,700. They're not cheap and they're not easy to come by, but they're super snuggly. As I'll show you later, it's not easy to get in and out of them. And I think if you're thinking about getting bucket seats, you really need to try them first, because there's very few adjustments. You can adjust how high up your ass is, up and down, and of course there's a slider for going forward and back, but that's it. There's no you can't adjust the rake and the lift on the front, and you can't adjust how forward and back the backrest is. So you're going to be sure you're going to be comfortable in it. For me, being about 6 foot tall, it's perfect for me. Yeah, it feels like a track day car with this seat. You're snuggled right in there. It's a perfect size for me. But you know, not everybody's my shape, thankfully, and so it may not be ideal for everyone. So certainly if you're thinking about getting the bucket seats, give them a good try first, because I know a lot of people pay all that money and then find them uncomfortable. Okay, let's take a look at the outside of the GT4. Obviously a special car from the outside. From the front, you can see straight away the body kit is completely different. These wider grills, this grill at the front here, bigger openings, more cooling, bigger engine. Sits a little lower, about an inch, 1.2 inches I think it is. These wheels are the only wheel options on the GT4. But of course you've got this enormous wing at the back. You can have lunch on this. And what surprises me about the exterior options for the GT4 is that there's only 10 colours that's available in, and 6 of those colours are variations on black, white, grey, silver. So the only actual colourful colours are the yellow, the Guards red, the Cayman red, and the sapphire blue. And while I'm not normally a big fan of those sort of midlife crisis colours, they work on GT cars. You know, bright colours work well with, you know, these cars that have got these body kits. They're sort of making a statement, and the colour and those really bright colours sort of help with that. So this car has an option for interiors, a yellow and a Guards red interior, where they have the stitching in that colour as well. So yeah, well, I'm not a big fan of yellow Porsches normally. I think they're a midlife crisis colour. It actually works on the GT4 and the other GT cars. Something I've noticed that Steve's done with his GT4 is that he has wrapped the entire car. And I think that's pretty cool, and I'd love to do that with my car as well. What I mean by that is put the clear bra, not just, most people put a clear bra, you know, on the hood, around the front fender, and often take it back to the first quarter here. He's clear bra'd the entire car, which really takes away a lot of your worry. You can just see it here. If you look around the Porsche and the GT4, you can see where it's where the clear bra is. Fantastic. It costs a little more, but I think if you want to drive worry-free, clear bra is the way to go. Take a quick glimpse inside. Obviously, as I've talked about already, Steve got the bucket seats, which is super comfy. But yeah, there's no way of getting in and out of the bucket seats without some, I don't know, grunting and groaning. At least if you're a tall, old, fat asshole like me, there's just no way of getting in and out of these seats gracefully. Okay, now that I've unceremoniously plonked myself in the bucket seat, let's have a quick look around the inside. Obviously it's like a Cayman inside with just a few little touches. The first one you notice will be a strap instead of a door handle. The second, obviously in this car, is the bucket seats, which are cool, with the GT4 up here. And the bucket seats being very supportive, but not the easiest things to get in and out of. The other thing I notice is there's a lot of Alcantara in here. I'm not a fan of Alcantara. I just don't think it belongs in a car. It's just the in thing at the moment, but it always looks dirty and it wears so badly. It's just not a material for cars for me, but looks fine enough in here. He's got a bit of stitching, and the GT4 comes standard with the brushed aluminium. My favorite. This is what I'm going to get in my car. I love it. I want to hump it. And otherwise, only other things I've noticed is that the gauges have orange. I don't know whether you can see that, but around the edges they're orange instead of white. What else is special? It's got a GT4 badge down here. I don't know, just a few little bits and pieces showing it's a GT4, but otherwise it's much like a regular Cayman on the inside. So finally, Stephen and I actually had a walk around together of his car when we were meeting up with the Hellcat the other day, so I'm going to add that segment now to this review. And I wanted to thank Stephen for letting me drive this incredible little car. Just I loved every second of it. So this is Steve. Steve owns this beautiful GT4. I will do a proper drive of it at some stage, but I want to do a quick walk around with you now. Just started its fan up annoyingly. So you ordered this with the bucket seats?
Correct.
Were they a problem?
Actually, so I waited a year and a half from deposit to delivery.
What?
For this car.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, by the time I got my allocation, it had been 11 months after I put my deposit down.
Yeah.
And I went in almost immediately after.
Yeah.
I speak with my salesman, we put in the order, and he says, okay, well, at this moment, the buckets were actually on hold. So there's a stop order on them, cars couldn't be ordered with them. I said, okay, well, let's try it in the morning, let's see. I get a call, I leave, come back, get a call the next morning at 9 a.m. as I'm walking into work. So congrats, you got the buckets.
Really?
They opened up the morning after I left, so yeah.
Great. And are you happy with the buckets?
I absolutely love them.
They're crazy, aren't they?
They're really great.
Yeah.
A little bit of a pain to get in and out of.
Yep.
But hey, you know what? Race car.
Well, yeah, it is basically a race car. What other options did you get?
I ended up doing the full leather interior, so just the stitching there.
Yep.
Nav.
This is my favorite. This brushed
This
aluminum.
is actually standard.
The standard on the GT4.
So
is it?
on the GT4s, it's actual aluminum standard.
Yep.
Rather than the plastic stuff that they normally give you. So the seats, the leather, nav, larger fuel tank.
Larger fuel tank is an option?
Yep.
Wow.
Free.
A free option?
Okay.
Okay.
That one.
Don't get much free from the Porsche.
Yeah, exactly. So I bulked up on all the free options.
Yep.
Because they are few and far in between.
Yeah.
Fire extinguisher. Had to do that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't go too option crazy.
Yeah.
Just the big one was the seats and the nav.
And you're loving it? Anything you'd change?
Well, I would. I'd add lights on the mirror.
Yep.
That's annoying.
That's annoying.
Not really for me, but for passengers.
Yeah.
I've heard a few complaints from females. But and the side mirror does not go down in reverse, so that's a pain in the ass. And I wish that a backup camera had been an option, because I had to add that one myself.
Oh, really?
So,
the side mirror doesn't go down in reverse.
No, it's weird.
Is that a GT4 issue?
I think it's I'm sure that they'll try and say, oh, hey, we're trying to save the weight. But I mean,
that doesn't. You've still got the motor in there. That doesn't make any sense.
So,
doesn't make any sense at all.
I've tried everything. Tried to put it in selecting that side.
Yep.
Nada.
Wow.
So,
even selecting the left side? Because that's how it normally works.
Tried both.
Wow.
None of them work.
Wow. But yeah, so totally happy with it.
Totally happy. Other than those two little things.
How about the manual transmission?
The transmission itself is incredible. The shifting is top notch.
Yeah.
My one little issue with it is, as everyone keeps saying, is the gears.
Yeah.
It is a little bit too long. Yeah.
Right.
But I had the car out at Watkins Glen, and I never really said to myself, I really wish these gears were shorter.
Yeah.
I was just enjoying the drive far too much. It's such a minor little thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. When you get a car so spot on, people look for every little fault they can find.
It is perfection.
That's I guess the one fault they could find.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. Oh, I look forward to taking for a spin.
Of course.